Hi, and welcome to this live reading from She's No Cowgirl by Brooke May, and this is presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Prologue. Kennedy, 11 years old. My fist ball at my sides. The sticky plastic on my palms makes a sound only it can as I squeeze tightly. Dad is always telling me never to say mean things, but right now, the bigger boy across the line from me is making me really mad. Why don't you learn to keep your big dumb mouth shut? The helmet on my head makes me feel more like a bobblehead as I tilt it to one side and back to glare up at the big lug head. His head was far too big for the regular helmet we were given for our division, so he had to shove us into a practice one offered by one of the high schools. All I'm saying is the truth, little girl. Propping his hands on his hips, he bends to level me with a glare of his own. I want to slam my fist into the middle of his face. I was so excited for today. After convincing my dad I was ready for football, he signed me up for the youth league a month ago, and tonight is our first time coming together. We will be running drills to help the coaches decide who they want to draft. I'm the only girl on the field in full tackle gear. That doesn't bother me, though. My mom put my hair in a French braid so I could tuck it into the padding before Dad and I even left the house. As long as I kept my helmet on, I was hoping no one would notice I was a girl. I wasn't so lucky. Even using my nickname KD, boys quickly figured out I was a girl and, like the big idiot across from me, got butt hurt because I had been besting them. You shouldn't be allowed to play. The jerk has the nerve to step into my space. If he so much as lays a single finger on me, I'm going to break the stupid thing and watch with a grin as he cries like a baby. Why can't I play? I'm just as good as some boys, and he is definitely not one of the boys I can keep up with. You're a girl. His bark of laughter is of disbelief. I know enough to know that girls can do anything boys can. Well, except the whole standing while going to the bathroom thing, but I'm okay with not having that ability. I probably know more about football than most of the boys here. My dad coaches the defensive line for one of the high schools, so I've spent most of my life on the sidelines watching the boys play and learning everything I can. Dad also took me to see the college team when they played at home. I know my football, and I'm good at playing it. That's what makes me so angry. This boy thinks he has more right to be here than I do. I'll show him. I have every right as you, Piggy. I know I'm going to get in trouble for saying mean things while he'll get away with his words, but I'm going to knock him on his butt anyway. Sliding my mouthguard in, I don't wait for instructions or a whistle to blow before I get into position and slam my shoulder right into his middle. It would have been far more satisfying if he was ready for me. I still would have knocked him back, and a flag would never have been flung into the air when I did it. But this will have to do. With a grunt over my head, I plow him into the ground. He's far too big to cause us to slide on the grass. His confusion lasts long enough for me to climb off him and grin around my mouthguard. That should show the big jerk. What's wrong with you? After stumbling to his feet, he gets in my space. I'll still break one of his fingers if he touches me. Spitting out my mouthguard, I cross my arms. I just took down a boy far bigger than me, I point out, as though he didn't just realize anything. Something I doubt you could ever do. That wasn't fair. I wasn't ready. It isn't fair that a little girl took you down? What is going on over here? One of the coaches is now jogging over to us while the ref tries to separate us, but he isn't going to be any help to either of us. I have a point to make, and I'm going to make it. She tackled me, coach. Boys all around us are gathering closer now, chuckling at us. I know it is directed at the jerk more than me. She shouldn't be out here. He's growing angrier with me and I with him, but I'm not about to show him. And why can't she? It's the coach's turn to cross his arms. He looks confused by this statement. It's nice to see some guys around here are okay with me playing. Girls can't take a hit. Oh, yeah? Anger grabs hold of me once more. Running my tongue over my teeth, I debate if I have time to put my mouthguard back in before I hit him. Going against my better judgment, I get ready to tackle him again. This time I'm not going to get up until he is in tears. Watch me. Before the coach or any of the other boys can do a single thing, I'm plowing into his middle again. I take him down once more, and this time he hit hard enough that tears came far more quickly than I thought they would. Chapter 1. Hunter. Present day. Just a couple more days. My hat tilts up as my forearm helps to wipe the sweat from my brow. One last tap and I can drop the horse's hoof. One more tap of the hammer and I I will have yet another chore done on the list that never seems to end. Even with my brother and sister home to help spread the load out, as well as my parents doing their fair share of the work, something always needs to be done on the ranch. And I'm the one who gets saddled with shoeing. My lip turns up in a snarl. I slowly straighten, my back protesting and screaming at me for staying bent over for so long. I had to do far more work to this horse's hind end than I had to do with the front, but he is good and ready for whatever my mom plans on doing with him now. Sweat continues to pool under the band of my hat, and now it is rolling down my spine in waves. The early August sun is already burning the back of my neck and arms. Even when I started this morning before the sun was up, the breeze was so hot I didn't even want to leave the house. But when you are born into a family of ranchers, you do what you were told, even if you don't want to. I am not a fan of the ranch lifestyle. I never really have been. But I do it anyway. Every summer until I have either a career in the business world or have met my dream of playing for a national football team, I will do this for my family. In a couple of days, I will be headed back to Billings, Montana to get back to work on that dream. I'm not going to complain too much, though. I love this home of mine. The massive log house that my great-grandfather built and my grandfather grew up in. My mom, sister, and brother, and maybe someday one of my siblings will raise their kids in the only place I will ever call my true home. This isn't where I belong, though. Looking out across the spread of land that never seems to end, I take it all in as a hot breeze brushes over the alfalfa growing out there. I see the trough Aspen nearly drowned me in when she thought I was ready to learn how to swim at the age of 3. Of course, I don't have any solid memories of that, so Aspen delights in reminding me how she saved my life. Mom then reminds her it was her fault I nearly died. Over to Barn A, where Braxton and I jumped off with freshly laundered bedsheets in our attempts to fly, this home is filled with so many memories. Huffing out a laugh, I drop my hammer into my pack and move around to the front of the post I have the horse tied to. Okay, Buck, you're ready to go. Taking the halter and lead off him, I give him a good rub down. He has no patience for my affection. Head bobbing, he hits my elbow several times to try and get me to stop to give him whatever he really wants. All right, you win. Going back to my pack, he turns his head to watch me as I pull an apple out and hold it up to him. There you go, boy. Greedily, he grabs the apple with his flexible lips as well as his teeth, and he sucks the entire thing into his mouth. I didn't realize pigs got this big. He snorts at me as if understanding what I just said. Hell, he probably does. With this chore done, I pick up my pack and lead the way back to Barn B to drop it off. Buck steadily ambles behind me, his new shoes clinking against the rocks under us. While I walk into the barn, Buck continues over to the trough for a drink before I let him meander off into a field to graze. A couple more days. Muttering to myself, I put the tools away in their proper place for the next person. Just a couple more days. Football is my future, not ranching. Sure, when my family needs me, I'll be here to work as they would. I will break my back, soaking my clothes in mud, sweat, and rain to help them with anything they need, but this isn't where I see my life. The ranch will always be here for me, but I want a life outside of it, out of this town, and even out of Wyoming. I want more. Every morning I wake up to start my day of working outside. I haven't been able to work out properly in the past couple of months, but the hard labor I've been putting in every day at the ranch keeps me in fit form. After dinner, I go for a run. Following the dusty road to the county one, I then make my way down the long stretch to the Foster's place and back again. Then I take a shower and fall into my childhood bed to study my playbook. This bed has been replaced 3 times to accommodate my long body. By then, I can barely keep my eyes open, but I manage to get a few pages looked over each night. My book is weathered, dog-eared, and ripped in a few places, but I feel ready for this coming season. Hunt? Blinking, I find myself braced against the worktop of the tack room. Turning around, I come face to face with my little brother. At 6'3", he appears to tower over me when it's only 3 inches. We both got our height from our dad, but Braxton is far more like him than I will ever be. Brax is laid back and rarely speaks, just like our dad. His voice is far deeper than either of ours as well. but my little brother is the epitome of a gentle giant. What's up, Brax? Crossing my arms, I lean back on the worktop. Aspen needs our help moving one of the troughs from the east pasture. Dylan isn't going to help her? Dusting off my hands, I close the distance between us. Dylan is my sister's best friend and boyfriend. It took them long enough to get together, and as strange as it is, I'm glad they finally owned up to their feelings. No, he's haying. My brother certainly is a man of very few words. All right, let's get this over with. Just a couple more days.